It's one thing to see a sea lion, or 7, serenely sunning themselves on the California coast. It's another to see them by the hundreds obstinately taking over part of that coast. But that's what's been happening lately in Steinbeck country, Monterey, California, about 90 miles south of San Francisco. A marine sanctuary spokeswoman says the first time this happened with this many sea lions was back in 2003, but that they've been coming back like this for the past 2 years. She adds that they're almost all males and that they're in the area for food, though why they all chose this particular beach to hang out is a bit of a mystery. It's against the law here for people to interfere with sea lions in any way, so caution tape has been put up to discourage that, though many are still gathering behind that tape to capture the colossal colony of playful pinnipeds. This is your nonpartisan source for news and features explained, aka the world from A to Z. And I'm Carl Azuz, always happy to see you. It means the world to have you watching. As more and more people and organizations have embraced technology in lives and operations, so have cyber criminals looking to steal money, information, identities, or sometimes just to disrupt life as we know it. According to Forbes Business Magazine, more than 2,300 cyber attacks were recorded last year alone, and they affected more than 343 million people. That's roughly the number of people who live in the United States. At the U.S. government's level, it says it's most concerned about potential attacks from rival countries China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia. A U.S. national security attorney recently told the Wall Street Journal that China puts more resources than anyone else into cyber attacks. America has accused China of going after U.S. civilian infrastructure like power and water companies. China has called the American accusations baseless and blames the U.S. for trying to attack Chinese government systems. And while those accusations crisscross the Pacific, cyber attacks have become increasingly common in businesses. Forbes says 94% of organizations have said they've had email security issues. So of course, it makes sense companies are looking and needing to invest more in keeping their info secure.
Oil giant Halliburton became the latest corporation to find itself in the midst of what appears to be a cyber attack. A person familiar with the matter says the attack appears to be impacting business operations at the company's Houston campus and some global networks.
It's not something new, but we're seeing it more and more often.
Last month, nonprofit One Blood confirmed it was the victim of a ransomware attack.
It's becoming an epidemic with the cost.
According to a report from IBM, the global average cost of a data breach is $4.88 million in 2024. That's a 10% increase over last year and the highest total ever. Cyber attacks come in several forms, but phishing, personal data breaches, and malware are some of the most common methods. Steve Grobman, the chief technology officer at McAfee, says it's up to everyone individually to ensure they don't become a victim.
It's important that people realize cybercrime is essentially a business for the criminals, and they're looking for the best way to monetize unwitting consumers.
Grobman advises people to use different passwords for every website, freeze your credit, and consider using a VPN.
Protecting yourself on PCs, mobile devices, in the cloud. All of these areas are places that consumers need to use the best technology.
On top of the typical phishing or malware, Grobman says they're seeing a rise in AI deepfake voice scams. He says never give out your information or money to someone over the phone, even if you recognize their voice. Hang up and call the person back yourself and verify the information. In New York, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Is it constitutional? Ratified in 1804, the 12th Amendment stipulates that the President and Vice President shall be members of the same political party. This is false. While this amendment effectively prevents the Electoral College from choosing candidates from different parties, it is possible for a Democrat and a Republican to run together on the same ticket. Possible, but highly unlikely in today's deeply divided political climate. Last week, while reporting on the upcoming U.S. presidential election, we told you that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a former Democrat running as an independent, was considering suspending his campaign. He did that last Friday and endorsed Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. Kennedy's polls in recent weeks had shown he was the choice of between 2 and 6% of voters. For perspective, former President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris have each been polling at more than 40%, with Harris leading by around 3 percentage points. Throughout Kennedy's campaign, there have been questions about how he'd impact the election. Many political analysts are still divided on the effects his suspension will have. On this date in world history. Before August 27, 1859, there were two main ways to get oil: by whaling, which was expensive and time-consuming, and through seeps, places where oil naturally seeped through the ground but only provided a little at a time. That changed when an American named Edwin L. Drake used an iron pipe in a Pennsylvania well. That pipe protected the well from flooding or collapsing, and when oil rose up through it, Drake's folly became Drake's success and led to America's first oil boom. On this date in 1955, a certain book of world records was bound for the first time. The Guinness Book, which has by now gathered tens of thousands of records, has been published in dozens of languages and become one of the best-selling books in history. And on August 27th, 2003, Mars did something it had never done before in human history. Scientists said it made its closest approach to Earth in almost 60,000 years. How close was it? About 35 million miles away, which in astronomical terms is like the dude sitting next to you. Anyway, it gave telescopes an incredible opportunity to get some serious close-ups with the red planet.
Word and knowledge. Which of these animals is an example of a proboscidean? Monkey, mosquito, elephant, shark. Proboscideans are mammals of considerable size. They include elephants and extinct mammoths and mastodons.
Watch a monstrous prehistoric mastodon skull get carefully plucked from the muck in an Iowa creek bed. Following the find of a fossilized femur bone, a team of archaeologists visited the area and discovered the enormous skull, complete with partial tusks, kicking off a painstaking 12-day excavation project. The dig was rife with challenges, from the low-lying area's difficult accessibility to flash flooding concerns, but the team said locals donated resources and equipment to help the project along, and they were able to carefully remove the specimen without incident. Now, at the University of Iowa, the skull of the mastodon, which the team has named Dolly, waits with more pieces of this as-yet unfinished prehistoric puzzle.
We're headed out west in today's World of Viewers segment, starting in the Midwestern city of Harlan, Iowa. That's where Mrs. Brix's class is watching from Harlan Community Middle School. Let's go Cyclones! Next stop, the Centennial State of Colorado. Mr. Edwards' class is online and awesome at Infinity Middle School. It's in the city of Aurora. And we land in the Golden State of California, giving a big hello to a big group of viewers. Long Beach Unified Schools are in the city of Long Beach. If you'd like your school announced, please click Request a Shoutout on our homepage, worldatz.org. You can also subscribe and leave a comment on our YouTube page under our latest show. On Game 3 of the 1932 World Series, baseball legend Babe Ruth was up to bat. He pointed, reportedly towards center field, and then knocked a home run there. It became known as Ruth's called shot. It helped the New York Yankees win that game and the series over the Chicago Cubs. And the jersey Ruth was wearing recently came up for auction in New York. It sold last Saturday, almost 92 years after Ruth wore it in the game, and it went for a record price for sports memorabilia, more than $24 million. We don't know who pointed at it and called the shirt, but he or she must have colossal clout to say, "Don't judge me or swat this offer, because it's gonna blunder bust the bank when the king of cash opens up the wallet so wide there's Bambi no way anyone outbids me, babe." I'm Carl Azuz, and that's the world from A to Z. Join us again tomorrow, because we aim for every show to be a hit.